board meeting to order. Roll call, please.
President Byrne,
Here.
trustees Hebda,
Here.
Schultz,
Here.
Markwart, Cook,
Here.
Grebe,
Here.
Williams.
We have a quorum present. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Yeah, we got a hotline. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back there. It's an
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, it works nice.
I know.
Okay.
I don't even-
All right,
We got dial tone too.
what do we got? First item is road rehab, right? Any citizens wish to address the board tonight that aren't on committee of the whole? Just, if it's on committee of the whole, Chet.
Okay,
Well, what do you want to?
the Pulte development.
Well, that's not on.
Those are the two items on the committee of the whole.
Oh, okay, then you can speak. No. Then you can speak then. Okay. All right, so first item is Public Works Director,
No, you got the
Resolution.
oh, yeah, Christ. Yeah, is there a motion to approve and pass the resolution 2016-041, resolution urging Illinois state leaders to pass a final budget? Anybody want to speak to this, or is that good enough?
Well, this is really, again, goes back to the state of Illinois and their long-standing tradition of collecting our monies and then sending it back to us and the like. And, you know, as you recall recently, they withheld 911 surcharge monies, motor fuel tax monies and the like to, you know, I guess try to ease some of their concerns or their financial issues down there. And obviously when they do that, it does place, you know, pressure on our budgets and the like to be able to have to address those types of things. So the resolution is another case of a preemptive step that many municipalities are taking to try and force them to take another hard look at this again. Obviously, our biggest concern in this whole thing is the LGDF, or the local government distributed funds, and making sure that those continue to come our way. As you will recall, we receive approximately $2.4 million annually in LGDF funds. So, and that's a little bit over 10% of our revenues that we receive annually. So we need to obviously encourage those folks to work through this, and that's the background for this resolution tonight.
motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any comments or questions?
Should we read it into the minutes for the purposes of our audience?
I mean, we could.
Why don't you do that, John?
Okay.
I don't have a copy in front of me.
Where's the,
Have John read it.
go ahead, John, read it into the record.
Yeah, I don't have a copy in front of me.
Okay. I got one,
It's
Wait a minute. I got it here somewhere.
you mean the on Saturday?
Correct.
That part?
No. The actual resolution
The actual
itself.
resolution.
Oh, I don't,
Show this
do
thing.
we have it?
I have it.
I got
I
it.
think we all have
Oh,
it.
he's
We
got
can
it.
get in there
Oh,
and
okay.
get it.
Whereas the Constitution of the State of Illinois provides in Article 8, Section 2, that the General Assembly pass a budget based on proposed expenditures and estimated funds, and whereas the State of Illinois has been operating without a fiscal year 2016 state budget since July 1 of 2015, and whereas needed health and safety services and critical infrastructure services such as road construction, maintenance, and repair are negatively impacted by the lack of state budget, And whereas the Village of Vernon Hills and every other unit of government is directly and indirectly adversely affected by the failure of the General Assembly to pass a budget, and whereas consideration of cuts to local revenues and mandated property tax freezes in connection with the state's fiscal year 2016 budget threaten the stability and viability of local units of government. And whereas the village has done its part to meet its fiscal responsibility and reduce expenses during and after times of economic recessions, including significantly reducing its workforce, maintaining a balanced budget each year, and funding its pension obligations. And whereas the state's budget issues must not be used as an excuse to force uncertainty and financial instability upon units of local government and the residents who live there. Now therefore be it resolved by the President and Board of Trustees of the Village of Vernon Hills, Lake County, Illinois, as follows. The foregoing recitals are incorporated into the resolution as a finding of the President and Board of Trustees. Section 2, President and Board of Trustees of the Village of Vernon Hills call upon the Governor and the General Assembly to discharge their respective constitutional duties and promptly adopt a balanced state budget for fiscal year 2016. And at 3, a copy of this resolution shall be forwarded to the Governor, State President, State Minority Leader, House Speaker, House Minority Leader, Lake County Municipal League, and the Illinois Municipal League. And in Section 4, this resolution will be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approval, dated this day, the 16th of March, 2016. And
Okay, there's a motion and a second.
Yes.
Roll call.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Markwart.
Aye.
Cook.
Aye.
Grieve.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Hebda.
Aye.
Motion carries. So with Duncan gone, they can pass a budget now, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. They can override a veto.
I'll defer to Tom and Jim on that one. They'll be able to pass a budget now?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, okay.
He doesn't leave office until January 15th, something like
Oh,
that.
so it might be after that.
Well, no one knows what's going to happen. I mean,
Stop.
yeah.
You don't have the floor anymore. Okay. Yeah, okay.
You asked,
I'm sorry I asked,
there
okay.
you go.
Okay, I won't make that mistake again. All right, 2016 road rehabilitation program.
Thank you very much. There's been much discussion with the board as far as our road program. The area we're doing this year is the manor homes of NCT. It has been discussed as part of the capital improvement program, and we've communicated with residents in terms of coordinating that. So it's the manor homes, and it's also 2 areas within the Woodbine North and South Woodbine areas. Across the frontage, we're doing some limited work there also. So we did, the board has worked previously to pass a IDOT MFT resolution in the amount of $800,000. It's been included in our budget also for $800,000. We went out to bid. The numbers came in favorably. A-Lamp was the low bidder at $569,925.98. So in terms of that, they're under budget. We have $230,000 available in our budget.
Whoa. A-Lamp?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the one that,
And A-Lamp has,
Explain.
yes, sir.
Since we had a little problem with them a few years back.
We did have some problems with A-Lamp a few years ago. They have worked as subcontractors in the village since then on the road program. And we did go through some litigation with them that was settled many years ago, but they are a
Are
quality.
we solid, as oak now with our handshakes on the petroleum issue? If it
Absolutely.
goes up, which it could go up.
We,
So who's biting the bullet on that one?
so we make sure that that document is never to be included in a contract ever again.
Oh, we learned something.
We did. We did.
So what does that mean? If it goes up, they eat
They
it?
they pay for it.
They have locked-in unit prices. Those are the prices. We measure them. That's what we pay them based on.
Right. So if the price goes up on the asphalt, TS, right?
Their
I
problem.
mean,
Absolutely.
something like that?
The contract is the contract. The dollar amount that they bid is the numbers that we will hold them to.
Okay.
The only other question I have,
Yeah, anybody got a question?
because I know this is on, it's S, if I'm correct.
Yes.
But I definitely have not been pleased with them for the quality of work that they've done. So I know one is one, but their quality at that time, be honest, stunk. So if we're doing it, they better be watched like a hawk.
Well, I think you just, I'm sorry.
What?
I think Dave said they have done work since then, and it's been up to par, correct?
They absolutely have, and I think the one comment that trustee Markort is bringing up is the concrete itself.
Right.
My understanding as far as their workmanship, it wasn't their workmanship, it was actually the chert within the concrete. The chert is a stone that fractures very easily. We did go through testing since then as far as that product. It does meet all the IDOT specs. When you're within this area, chert is prevalent within concrete. And so in terms of that, it is allowable. It meets IDOT standards. For one to try to get chert-free concrete, that's just too expensive. We can't afford to do that. But I am comfortable with A-Lamp. They have worked within our community since that issue arose years ago. And I do recommend that we contract with them.
Okay, I will put in, it wasn't just because of the concrete, the mix, it was also of their ability, you have the plans, and what you got wasn't what was in the plans. And for me personally, for my neighbors they messed them all up.
And that was some side jobs that they did on the driveways, I believe is what you're referring to, versus the actual roadways that we're doing with A-Lamp.
So just watch them.
So the chert is a byproduct of the limestone?
Chert is a
it's a
type
pillar.
of stone.
What?
Chert is a type of stone.
Yeah.
It fractures, it's laminated, so it's layered. So when water gets in it, it freezes and it pops. If it's very close to the surface, that is prevalent. That water would get in it, and
Right.
it will pop, and it will leave holes in the surface.
Right.
But
And to as independently as we want to act, are we going to hire our own material testing company?
we did that. We have,
Or we're doing it again then?
we absolutely will be
Well,
hiring.
that'll do core samples.
Yes. They will be
Who does that for us? Or who might do it for us?
We typically would hire someone like material testing
Services? Okay.
and they would break cylinders.
Yeah.
So yes, they would go through all the standard testing, and we are lining them
And,
up to do
and,
so.
and A-Lamp uses whoever they have to.
Well, we do our own testing.
No,
for the
no.
work.
But A-Lamp probably does their own too, right?
They would do their own testing also.
So,
Okay. Well, did
But
we
more-
do that the last time with these guys?
We did.
And everything was hunky-dory?
It was,
Really?
yes.
Okay.
The only issue other than the driveways that trustee Markwart's talking about, was the contractual issue that
Okay.
we had with them. Workmanship,
So the aprons were good.
yes.
Somebody else did those, right?
A-Lamp did those.
How about the curbs and gutters?
Curbs were also good.
And who did those?
A-Lamp,
Really?
yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Okey dokey. Anybody have any more questions on this one?
I voiced my
All right. So is that about it?
On that topic, that is about it. I recommend approval of the resolution in your board packet
Right.
with A-Lamp.
is that on the?
And it's on the omnibus agenda.
right,
It is S.
Yes.
There's also another item, if you wanted me to continue, for senior bus.
Yeah.
Very good. So the senior bus, a topic that I know is very important to this board. There's been a lot of discussions. How do we deliver this service to our seniors? So we've investigated many different options in terms of how to deliver that service. We looked at Pace Bus, et cetera. We ended up with discussions with the board that we would go out and purchase a new one. It is a replacement for our 2007 bus. This one is a new 2016 bus. It's pretty much identical features, et cetera. We went out to bid. The numbers came in well. The $50,469 was from Central State Bus Sales. And they also will give us a $6,000 trade-in for our existing bus. We'll keep the bus, should the board approve this, we will keep the bus, and we anticipate a late September, early October delivery. They would drop off our new bus, and then they take away our old bus. Our old bus has served us well, but there's a lot of maintenance issues that we're struggling with, and so that was the decision why we would move forward with a new purchase.
What if we go with a green bus and it's not, what is this, diesel, gasoline?
This one's, it's gasoline.
So what if we went with, what's the alternative? I mean,
An alternative fuel?
Yeah,
well, I mean, you see buses driving around that go propane or what is it? What are they burning? What would it cost us for one of those buses?
we decided because of different fuel options to go with the unleaded gas one. We did not look at a propane.
But I mean, what's the ballpark on it?
I think a
say
diesel
close to
would probably
10.
be over $10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the price of diesel going.
I didn't
you know,
say
up.
diesel. I'm talking about something that's,
Well, it's a similar cost for an alternative engine as diesel. Similar cost.
so what is it, 10 grand more than this?
Maybe.
I think it's more than that, but I did not investigate
All right.
that.
What about electric?
Oh, then it's only double the price of.
No.
Do we get tax credits?
There are options for tax credits. Yeah, I think the best option.
Well, I know what you're thinking. I'm just bringing this up because, I mean, there are, bigger cities probably going to this. Maybe not. I'm not sure,
Well, Your Honor, if you'd like us to explore that, we absolutely could do that. The one thing that comes into play if you use liquid natural gas or compressed natural gas is that you got to have a facility to provide the fuel to the vehicle, and we don't have that. So there is not only the technology of the bus, but it's then also the facility that provides the fueling for that. And the only place that I'm aware of is some of the larger waste hauling services that have converted some of their vehicles to compressed natural gas. I don't think the bus companies are doing it at this point.
There's one district that's doing it down in northern area, down around Wheeling.
Right.
It's not a Wheeling district, it's a different district, and they've had a lot of problems with, the contractors had a lot of problems with it.
Right. So
There's not many doing it.
you got to have the infrastructure to be able to provide the fuel, and we just don't have it up here, from what I understand.
So, Tesla's not making one yet?
Not yet. Not yet.
Stay with it.
I have another question.
Okay. Yes, trustee Williams.
Dave, I'm sorry, you have to refresh my memory. Does the existing bus only have one wheelchair station?
True.
So it's the same, it's nothing?
It is identical.
nothing
Same amount of
different, like for
seats,
like?
same amount of wheelchair locations,
Good.
and the paratransit lift.
I'm sure the seniors are feeling very more at ease right now because they were very concerned about what we were going to do.
Trustee Hebda.
Just, I appreciate your research and all of this and doing this. I think our seniors are very lucky to have this particular service, because I know in a lot of places it's not available. What I'd like to do, though, is to look at our guidelines for when or who gets to use the bus and where we get to go. Maybe this summer, that's a topic, just to reassess that so that we can make sure that we're providing the service within reason. I know that we've talked about that in the past a little bit, but I just would like to review that just a little
Don't
bit.
we
I
have
think
something?
that was some of the study you just did,
did.
wasn't it, Dave?
Yeah, we,
Just to prolong the life of the bus too.
yes, so what you're asking for is let's revisit the
Well, no,
policy,
give me an
refresh
update
it.
or a summary, and we can, at least look at that, just to make sure that
Well,
we've got
and
everything up.
maybe what I can, I'll just add real quick. The villages of Libertyville and Libertyville Township and I believe Mundelein have begun, have created this program or expanded the program that provides senior bus service. And I reached out to the coordinator from Lake County about that program because it basically serves everybody north of Route 60, including a little over half of the village for those types of services. We weren't contacted in any way on that program. So what I've asked them to do is, once you guys get the program going, let's talk, and let's have a broader conversation to see if there's some interoperability or interconnections that can be created for our program. Because as I indicated to them, we have a bus. We have people that want to go certain distances, but we can't do that because we only have one bus. But if we could create, transfer nodes or areas where we could transport people to a certain location and they could be dispersed from there on maybe another bus, we'd like to explore that opportunity.
Yeah, I
Because it would expand our opportunities here. The one difference is ours is a free service, theirs is not.
It's not.
So, we'll have some more
We should have
information.
some discussion about that.
Yeah,
I think it's really valuable,
absolutely.
and I think we're very lucky that we have the bus too, and I think people are very appreciative of that as well.
Right.
So we'll review the policy again, and also one of the things that we're doing as part of this year's budget is we're actually putting a GPS tracker on it. So we really want to understand where our
Where it's
bus is going, where we're dropping people off, so we better know our bus and service needs.
Trustee Schultz.
I just did a little quick research. It's a minimum of 15,000 and a maximum of 20,000 for the upgrade to CNG.
Yep, depending on which one you do. You gotta be, remember, I've been retired for 2 years. I don't remember what it costs anymore.
Okay, well, all right. Anything else on this particular topic?
No, we just recommend approval. It's on the omnibus agenda, and that's all I have.
So, but I'll ask this question. Do the townships or any of the other towns own their own equipment / bus? Like Vernon, Libertyville Township?
I think it's a mix. A lot of them have been part of the PACE program. I believe that's what Libertyville Township are working on with regards to the PACE bus. I know there's some other senior facilities over on the North Shore that own their own buses and operate their own bus, I should say, and the like. So it's really a mix.
And some subsidies to a dial-a-ride
Yeah, exactly.
program.
Well, I mean, so some governmental entities are basically leasing through PACE or paying a fee to PACE to operate within their villages?
What they do is they offer a bus. You would lease it through PACE, and then you would still supply the driver, be required for the training, all of the other services that we do.
And what does that cost? I mean, to do something like that a year?
That was in the report that we went through before. It was like $6,000 per year, but there were a lot of constraints on services. We could not restrict it to seniors only. We'd had to open it up to a much larger group. Having one bus, it was very difficult because that would greatly exceed our capacity for service.
Okay. All right. Okay, Dave is done, right?
Thank you, sir.
All right. Next is Village Hall railing. Building Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is, as the board knows, this is a continuation of a discussion at the last village board meeting, whereby, in response to feedback from residents using our senior center, the board requested that staff look into the cost of installing a guardrail that would get residents from the area where we have accessible parking spaces to the main entry to the village hall, and we've done that. In front of you in your screen and on the big screen is a map that shows where the railing would go. It shows it in the landscape area. It should be noted there is room to put it in the middle of the sidewalk, as was discussed.
Hold on to.
That equates to 135 linear feet. So the costs that I'm going to review with you are based on that. And it's also based on the configuration that you see before you. The cost between putting it in the landscape bed and the middle of the sidewalk would be the same. So what we did was we looked at 3 different kinds of railings. Kind of a top grade railing, a middle grade railing, and then a more affordable railing. So let me make sure I get these. The top line railing there's a picture of it before you. That is a stainless steel grade railing, and it has LED lighting that's capable of being lit for over 50,000 hours. It could be solar operated, or it could be hardwired into the village hall's lighting system and go on and off with the village's timer. This is the most expensive option that's available. The price for material and installation would be a total of $38,000. The second option would be a stainless steel railing that is not lighted. And in this option, you notice it shows more than just the bar. It shows additional strata bars going down. That's just to get your feedback if you like one bar, a cleaner look, or multiple bars. The one that's pictured in front of you, material and installation, would be $25,000. And then finally, the last 2 options would be an aluminum railing. Here's a couple pictures of those. These, you can see the price of $20,000. Now, aluminum is the most affordable option. If this is chosen, and it's actually what staff would recommend, we recommend that it include a clear anodized coatings to protect it so that it'll last a long time. It's durable. It'll stand up to the weather, the salt, and it's affordable as well. We think one strata, the top rail, is with the color that you're seeing there would blend well with the colors on the village hall. So again, that's the third option, and that's the one that staff is recommending. For the purposes of tonight's discussion, at this point, we're just looking for the village board's direction as far as we do want to install the railing, and we do want to include the money in this year's budget, and then B, which one's of the option, the 20, the 25, or the $38,000 option. And I can answer any questions that you have.
Trustee Williams.
No matter which one is, is chosen, would this be a rough finish, or is it going to be a smooth finish? If it's smooth, it's dangerous because somebody's hand's going to slip.
Yeah, it's there'd be a textured finish so that it's grippable, but not so rough that it's less functional to use. So it would be a brushed finish is I think the term they use, and not smooth.
I know we have. I hate to use the term handicap, but whatever the bars are in the ladies' room, is that rough finish? Would it be that type?
Yeah.
Because that is a very good gripping type bar.
Yeah, it wouldn't be quite that grippable, but it would be something along those lines. Because in this use, people would be kind of gliding along with it
sure.
rather than getting a good hold in one spot. But it would be similar.
A good hole, let me tell you.
It would be similar to that. A little less rough, but similar to that.
And the price you said is the same whether it goes in the center of the walk or on the side?
That's correct. And there are a couple of, if we go in the center, the price is the same. So we'll just ask the board's direction. If it goes in the center of the walk, there's a point where there's a depressed curb where and that would be just to the south of the building. That's where the senior bus drops off seniors. So if we had it in the center of the sidewalk, we would have to interrupt the railing where that depressed curb is, so that people could still use that. And then also, as you get close to where the village hall is, between the end of the sidewalk and the raised landscape bed, that's the area where it's just 8 feet. So it does get a little tight if we put it in the middle of the railing. It does comply with the code, and it can go there. There'd be 4 feet on each side, but that is a little tight if you're someone who's, in a wheelchair or something like that. But beyond that, if the board wishes to have it in the center of the sidewalk, we can make that work.
Okay,
Maybe we should have one on both sides.
yeah. What, and the stainless steel would last how long compared to the aluminum? And it doesn't have to be treated, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Stainless steel doesn't have to be treated. Its lifespan is similar to that of aluminum,
What is that, 20 years?
30 years.
Okay. And they can still brush it up?
They can. The stainless steel is a little more costly to install because, unlike aluminum, where they can join the different sections with an epoxy, with stainless steel, they would have to weld the joints and then grind and buff the joints. So there's a little more labor involved, and that's what drives the cost up, in addition to the...
So it's more, but it's
more
more,
durable.
it's sturdier.
Right.
It's sturdier. It looks nice. It's
Yeah,
stainless steel.
I'd recommend we go with the $25,000 stainless steel.
Stainless steel.
And I mean, personally, yeah, I don't want no, we don't need the
I
lights.
don't think,
Everybody's gone home by then. And,
well, it's still pretty lit. You don't need the lights.
right, yeah, it's well lit out there. And just put it, on the one side, We don't need it running down the center.
Very good, okay.
And this is to take care of people like on a day like this.
Today would have been a great example. Yes, that's
Right.
correct.
Or when there's, snow or rain or anything
Exactly,
like
on
that,
top
but,
of it, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because it's a little bit of an incline.
and do we have to run it 135 feet if we're doing anything with the handicap parking?
Well, yeah,
Or does that change everything?
well, if we change, excuse me, I'll get back to the map. You could see where the 135 feet runs to where the existing accessible
Right,
parking
right,
spaces are. If the board were to do different things with accessible parking, then the cost would be different. With this option, the one that you chose, it is approximately $130 a linear foot plus labor. So, and labor in this case for this option was somewhere between $6,500 and $7,000. So, the price would change, but we're still looking at, $130 a linear foot. Plus
Well, and we're gonna, obviously, in the next month, we're gonna have everything marked off on the
Circle?
horseshoe.
Yes.
That brings up another point, though. If we're going to we're having the parking go around the circle, they're going to have to get out of their vehicles and walk across from that last stop over to that railing if they need it.
Yeah, we went out and took a look at it. If there is this handrail, there's the opening that they would go to right across from the mailbox where the call-out box is. We're also looking that, we think that if there is the drop-off area in the center, maybe we want to add another handicap ramp to make it more accessible going right towards the
Sure, so
planter
you don't have
box.
to walk all the way over there, right?
Yeah,
I mean, just because you can drive doesn't mean that you don't have difficulty once you get out of the vehicle.
we agree.
Right. Something to think about.
Do you have any experience?
John?
I have experience. Yeah.
Just to add, what you have tonight are numbers that we would like, if you're okay with the middle number or whatever it is, we need to add that to the budget. So, and then ultimately, we need to come back with a plan on how the railing is going to get implemented, but also then talk about the additional handicap spots to create. So there's a budget number in there for additional handicap parking designation, sidewalk extension, and the like. You now have a budget number for the railing that we'll add to, we'll probably add it to the capital projects where the parking lot number is
I'd
too.
like
So
to make a motion to approve this, and selection of the stainless steel is recommended by the mayor.
2,500.
Motion, 25,000, is that what we're,
Yes.
that includes the railing and the labor?
No, the light
That's
is
correct, that's
35.
total.
Labor.
Material and labor total cost for 135 linear feet.
Oh, that's the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, this will come back to you guys. In the budget, and we'll come back with a plan that'll show how this all gets put together, and then have you guys approve an overall plan for the front of the building.
So do you need a vote on it now?
I would say go ahead and vote on it, and that's okay. It's just an acknowledgement that it's gonna go into the budget, and Nikki will do the
All
math.
right, so there's a motion and a second to go with the stainless steel $25,000 amount. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, first and second agrees, roll call.
Trustees Markwart,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Grieb,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Hebda,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Motion carries. And when, Dave, so the painting of the 4 or 5 spots is gonna take place sooner than later, right?
Sooner, absolutely. The first thing is we're manufacturing the signs, and we're gonna have those installed, and then we're looking at the different product to put down, because it is paver bricks, what product would best stick. There's also, the board talked about in a 3-month period, potentially revisiting this, so we want to have something that, if we abandon this and we move towards the other alternative of a connection between the mailbox area and the inspector area and adding 6 new handicap spots, that we don't have anything too permanent. So we're looking at, it'll be out of the season, we won't be snow plowing, and we can put down a tape or something
Yeah.
that's more temporary in nature.
And it is easier to get off than painting over.
But more
Yeah,
importantly, I
okay.
think the question built in there is, you want this done, you want it done right away, and we'll react to that and get that done.
Great.
All right. Next item is omnibus vote agenda. Is there a motion to approve items A through V?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any comments or questions? If not, roll call, please.
Trustees Cook,
Aye.
Grieb,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Hebda,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Markwart.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Unfinished business. Approval and passes of resolution granting approval to operate an outdoor merchandise display.
That's in our new.
Is that new? Okay. Well, there is no unfinished business. Okay, moving on to new.
There we go.
Oh, I missed that too, so don't feel bad.
Okay. Approval and pass of resolution 2016-042, resolution granting approval to operate an outdoor merchandise display and sales establishment for the Home Depot located at 493 North Milwaukee Avenue. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved. But before we do, there is something else that I'd like to be added to this, is that in the process is the same as what they've done year after year, but I suggested that they have a hose that runs out to the garden area. And it would probably better suit them if they were to bury either like a PVC or some sort of hose line that would run out to
The area.
while there's a plant area or the island. I know that they've gone to Lake County for the hydrant that sits there and put a meter on it, and they said no. I do know also if they lease the building, so they'd have to go to the landlord and also to find out if they could do this. But I thought this would be a good step for them to go into to actually make it better for them, instead of having a hose run over every single year.
Build a little box around it.
We actually have a solution for that.
So,
Lake County has denied us the last several years. However, we were able to, they're going to allow us to actually dig near the hydrant to tap into the main, and they're going to put a spigot coming out for us.
Okay.
We're actually going to apply for permits on Friday. We can have it completed before the permit for the live goods would start on April 1st.
Great,
Interesting, nice.
good.
Otherwise, this is basically the same
Yes.
as.
Same as you've done it.
Yeah,
Exactly the same. Yep.
Yeah,
Who-
everything's
who is the
exactly
land-
the same, that's correct. And we can include that as a condition in the resolution.
I agree.
So motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further comments or questions? If,
Quick question, just who's the landlord?
Mid-America?
Okay, thank you.
okay.
Right.
Roll call.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Trustees Grieb,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Hebda,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Markwart,
Aye.
Cook.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, is there, what are the other items under B?
No other items, Your Honor.
Okay. Any new business or communication to come forward? Oh, trustee Cook.
Last night, I attended the ribbon cutting ceremony at the College of Lake County's South Lake campus. They have now opened up that new chemistry building that we gave approval to in that. It's an incredible facility, very functional, very nicely done. And I know we talked when we first started redeveloping the area, we were happy to keep the College of Lake County's campus as one of the cornerstones of that area, and they're continuing to develop that campus, and it's turning into quite a nice campus. Dr. Sitkowit, who's the dean down there at South Lake, is doing an incredible job of marketing it and bringing in more students, and this is part of an overall project that's about $160 million worth of sustainable new campus work that they're doing at Grays Lake as well. And it was a delight to see how well things are turning out for them down there. And they were also very appreciative of any time they deal with anybody here at the village, staff or anything like that. They had nothing but great stuff to say. So it's really nice to see that campus getting bigger and better all the time.
Good. Trustee Schultz.
In this past Sunday's Daily Herald, there was a front page article, more or less below the fold, but it really reinforced my pride in our little town here. There was a young lady who was paralyzed as a result of the bus canopy at O'Hare falling over during a windstorm there because the maintenance was pretty, I guess, poor, to say the least, and it fell and it injured her entire family, but it severely injured her, and she was a recent graduate of Vernon Hills High, from what I've been told. And there is a community effort. They moved from Mundelein into the community here into Vernon Hills, and they're rehabbing the house. And I really didn't know anything about it, but Steve Spinell, who's been before us a number of times with projects as a developer, was leading it, so God bless him. But I also wanted to give an attaboy to our village staff here. I asked a question when I was in the building the other day, were we able to facilitate the building permits? And we did, and in fact at no cost. There's been over 1,000 hours of labor that's been involved. 50 different individuals have given their time and supported some of the purchase of the materials to get this house ready to receive this young lady who's still undergoing intensive therapy at the Rehabilitation Institute. But without knowing about it, without the Daily Herald article, I wouldn't have known anything about it. But it just was just another element in what makes this town so enjoyable to be a part of, is people getting together to help this young lady. And unbeknownst to me, the good work of the staff in facilitating that work. And so,
Well, yeah,
that.
I've known about this for months, and that's, it was conveyed to staff, we're not charging anything
Right.
for building
Yep.
permits or anything, so, yeah, and it's ironically, you read the article, it's not just people from Vernon Hills that are volunteering
Right.
their time.
Right.
There was a guy that's the drywall guy who he just, I thought, Christ, I thought they said he was from Elgin or something.
So,
Yeah.
And, this guy, he's a real good Samaritan, coming in and drywalling and, taping and sanding and getting it ready for the painters, and then that's a major undertaking. And, and then, of course, you got the concrete ramp that runs into the front of the house. Yeah, it's been, well, I'm sure Steve, in all honesty, has donated a lot of material. Steve Simonell is the builder, Kenzie, that did the Oaks right on Route 45. And he's a resident of Vernon Hills, and he's a good guy. And he understands this issue because his son's a hockey player. And by the grace of God, he had a real severe neck and back injury, and he came out of it, But it was, touch and go for quite a long time. So, and this house is, I think, on Abilene.
Yeah.
Correct, Mike? Or, yeah. So I think they're moving in pretty soon. I mean, next few weeks.
Yeah, actually, sooner than that. I would guess within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
A little guesswork,
Yeah.
but.
No, it was a good article. So, we've been, just quietly involved. So, okay. One thing, I got one about new business. Whose berm is that across from the Victory Center? It's probably the owners of the property that's used to be Famous Dave's, or, the trees where everybody cuts through,
Yeah,
Oh, that-
by the,
those trees
Right.
kind of,
Right.
it's kind of like, Sleepy Hollow.
we talked about
Yeah,
taking them down.
Are those, is any of that our property, or, because those trees, I don't care if Public Works goes in there now and just zzz, I don't know if they're even alive, a couple of them, but I mean, just to trim them up.
Right.
Because I know the people that live in Victory Center use that to go out to 60.
Right.
Yes, I've seen cars.
And I know I am guilty too of a cut-through route.
Joe's working on it with the property owner right now to try to get
The
that
new
done.
guys?
Yes, exactly. So.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Grace, I don't care if Public Works goes there tomorrow and just these are dead branches, but,
Touch on.
if you get a little, you gotta hit the center part of this driveway
Right.
to avoid, a scraping noise that'll be probably scratching your paint.
Right.
You're talking about the easternmost tree at the.
I'm just
tree
talking
top.
right where Victory Center is, at that driveway right there.
Absolutely. So I think that tree is very close to the public right-of-way.
Yeah, just-
And so I think we can react to that.
Yeah, that, and there's, the one next, the one on the other side. Just trim it up. These things are dead, I think.
oops,
Did I say that already?
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
we got it.
Well, all right. Okay, that's all I got. That's all I got. All right, is there a motion to adjourn the board meeting and go into committee of the whole?
We'll have executive session tonight, Your Honor, also.
Okay, after committee of the whole. Okay.
Correct. And that'll be on pending litigation pursuant to Section 2-C-11 of the Open Meetings Act.
Okay. All right, does everybody concur?
Yes.
Is there a motion and a
So moved.
second?
Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Williams,
Aye.
Hebda,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Markwart,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Grieb.
Motion carries. Okay. I'd like to call the committee, the whole meeting to order. First item is approval of the minutes. Oh, man, let me get this. Approval of the committee, the whole meeting minutes of March 1st, 2016.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion is second. Any comments, questions, deletions, or corrections? If not, roll call.
Trustees Hebda,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Markwart,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Grieb,
Aye.
Williams.
Motion carries. Number 2, presentation of intergovernmental agreements between, the village and Lake County regarding the Loyola Cuneo property, including sanitary sewer and water supply services and related information. And the petitioners are here, Loyola's here, Pulte's here, Chet's here.
The whole gang.
So what do we,
Nathan's.
who's taking this? Joe? Go ahead.
So thank you, Your Honor. Back in November, the village board approved a resolution that authorized an execution of the Cuneo Mansion and Garden Preservation and Campus Development Agreement. If you recall, what that agreement did was it kind of outlined the procedure at which a portion of the land sale proceeds between Loyola and Pulte Homes would go towards the maintenance and repair work at the property. At the time of that meeting, we did note that additional agreements between the village and Lake County would be required moving forward to allow the residential development at that location. So what is before you tonight are two items that will be required as part of that between the village and the Lake County. The first item is the intergovernmental agreement between the county and Vernon Hills, or the IGA, it's been referenced in your packet. What this agreement does is serves as an umbrella document which encompasses not only the preservation and maintenance agreement that was previously approved, but also outlines certain other approvals that will be required in order for the residential development to take place. Namely, it will be requiring certain amendments to the Declaration of Covenants that encompass the entire Cuneo area. One particular item of note is when the Cuneo property was initially developed, 10 acres of the Cuneo Mansion property was designated as commercial property. This IGA will set aside certain mechanisms to allow that 10-acre property to then be developed as residential. The other item included here is related to an amendment to the sanitary sewer and water supply. And what that is related to is that back when the Zale development took place, that allowed up to 2,100 homes to be developed as part of the Cuneo service area. 1,998 of those units have been approved for construction or are already constructed. So that right there leads with the Pulte home development proposing 128 additional homes. It requires an amendment to the water and sewer agreement to allow an additional 26 homes, which
So
is why
what does their development bring the total to?
2,126.
Yeah.
And there's 102.
So as I noted, those are the two.
But it, more accurately though, isn't it 2,200 homes?
No. It's
21.
Forever and a day?
That's what's in there.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
I know, that's right.
There will be a future amendment to the water and sewer agreement, but as relates to the northeast corner of the Melody Farm development. But as a sort of procedure, the county is looking to move forward with Pulte home development first, and then address it as a separate item at a later date, as relates to water and sewer access at that corner. Due to the county, they're scheduling this on April 12th to discuss these agreements. And so in order to move the process forward, staff's requesting direction on both agreements so that we can have these appear before the village board the April 5th agenda. However, there are some technical details that are still required to be done as part of this. So what staff is requesting is, if the committee of the whole feels the request is appropriate, we're looking for staff to be directed to prepare the necessary resolution granting authority to execute both agreements, subject to review by the village attorney and approval by Lake County.
Okay, Joe, how many homes are north of the E.J.N.E. Railroad tracks?
19.
No.
Oh.
No,
You tell me. I want you to tell me.
I don't know the exact number. What I can say is that part of the agreements authorized up to 750 homes south of the EJ&E.
Right.
And that total, in terms of the Zale, Greg's Landing development, it's 1,998,
South.
including both north and south.
Brings it to what?
1,998 is for both north and south.
Wait, you're losing me. Okay.
All right,
South of the E.J.N.E., where the townhomes are, including Amley, are 750 homes right now. Well, how much are they, John? Help me.
Okay.
Help me.
Let-
Please help me here.
Let's
No,
separate, let's,
help
se-
me.
let's
Help
separate it. Let's separate it.
Help me.
Okay, 2,100 total units
Okay,
to be
give
built across
give
the
me the
entire site.
number north of the tracks and south.
Okay.
You don't have those, do you?
Well, again, 750 maximum on the south side. I think it's 1,250 on the north side to equal 2,100 units. The total number of units that's built across the entire property, 1,998 total units.
That's what's issued in building permits.
No.
No. Mike, what have we issued in building permits?
I don't have the exact number, but I can tell you there are still vacant lots up in Greg's Landing, so.
Okay, so how many houses, nobody knows how many houses are built north of the EJ&E, including the townhomes, because they're,
Not the exact number. I mean, we could get that for you. I'm sure we have it. It's probably somewhere around 1,000.
okay, and in the Bob, you can comment on this. In the existing sewer and water agreement we entered into in what, 95, 96? For the Cuneo Greg's Landing property, north and south of the EJ&E, how many homes were allowed?
In the sewer and water agreement, we did that by PE. There might be a unit number in there, but it would be the same unit number as the other documents, 2,100 maximum. There's a 3,400 PE,
3,100 PE,
3,400 PE for Cuneo. That's an engineering sewer capacity, but the unit numbers were the same.
so the PE stands for what?
Population equivalent for a single-family house, it may be 3.5 PE. If it's a townhome or another type use, it might be 3 PE. 1 PE equals 100 gallons.
Okay, but this 128 homes still puts us under what number?
We're still, that's one of the reasons why it's subject to village attorney's approval. What we think now, based on a preliminary review by Pulte and Loyola, is that both of those still fall within the 3,400 PE. So when we're changing these documents, those numbers do not need to be changed. We are assigning 100 PE of the 3,400 to Loyola so that they have the capacity to do what they need to do with their classroom. But that can still fall, there's still adequate capacity. So in effect, that we have more capacity than the units that we built. And when I say the 3,400 PE, that includes all the commercial as well as the residential. It's not limited just to residential.
And again, there would be, okay, you know what? So there was never 2,200 homes approved for the Greg's Landing area.
No, as a part of the annexation, it was 2,100.
Okay, and you have that document somewhere in hand?
Yes.
Well, okay,
Do you want me to pull up the annexation agreement
yeah.
number? Okay.
Is the point you're trying to make is that
I always thought,
there was if you add what was up north and.
you take
this-
north and you take Pulte, and the bottom line was, it was still under what was allowed to be built there in residential units.
That's true. Then what was
So,
originally
so then
approved?
that brings it all, so we don't know, since nobody knows, right, sitting here, we don't know how many houses have been built or multifamily units in Cuneo. And you know what?
In terms of a precise number, you're correct. We don't have that here in our
Right,
hand.
and I'm just
But
saying,
what what we have up there right now is, we have 1,998 buildable lots or multifamily units that are or can be built up there.
north of
And
the
that's
JD.
it. And that's it. No, the entire development,
How many?
1,998 units.
No,
1,998 units.
you guys are wrong. I'm telling you, you're wrong.
Well, I think what John's talking about is the number that ended up getting platted.
Right.
Which is a different number than the documents originally saying.
What the annexation agreement. was.
Correct.
Right, because
That's
it got
right.
reduced by the AMLI.
And that includes Amley.
Right, but I mean, what I'm saying is the AMLI reduced the total number of, because I remember at the time, one of the reasons for going with the AMLI was the fact that it reduced the total number of.
I just want to see if I'm going senile, you know?
Well, we know you are, but that's okay.
No, it was like 2,200 homes, and okay, if it's different now, okay, yeah, I can live with that. So in essence, we really do, I mean, I guess to modify just for Pulte, okay? That this will put us over this 2,100
Yeah.
magic number by
Exactly.
28 homes.
Correct.
26.
26.
26.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
But I want to know, okay, so 2,200 was never a good number.
Correct. It was
It was in
21.
the
think it's
annexation
21.
originally.
Well,
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
telling you, you know.
there were multiple numbers.
Here.
If you remember, it was
Everybody
originally.
raised their hand that worked through the annexation agreement and everything else.
Well-
Two of us.
But remember, it was.
No,
The
no, no,
ending.
no,
You
no.
guys did the
Cindy, this
ending.
was
We're talking the original.
1988.
We're talking
Okay.
the original.
I mean, we lived and breathed that
Oh, my
thing.
God. Day and night.
Okay, fine.
Moving on.
Well, when you find it, you know.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, would you? You know. Anyway, I guess it's immaterial.
So-
No, it's immaterial. Okay, great.
So we're looking for a motion, but we also have people in the audience that wish to speak. to
Yeah, we got
this.
one, two, one,
Okay.
two,
Oh, that gentleman wanted
two,
to say something.
or one?
Two.
All right, Chick, come on up while council is diligently researching. You're going back to 88, I assume. Huh?
Good evening. My name is Chet Liss. I live at 515 Torrey Pines Way in the beautiful village of Vernon Hills.
Here,
As-
here.
As I have done at previous board meetings, I'd like to provide the feedback on the Pulte development of the proposed acres, 50 acres of the Cuneo Mansion. The Cuneo Mansion property is, the land in the building is an asset that we want to preserve as much as possible. I understand the need for development on the area to provide funding for the maintenance of the Cuneo Mansion. However, I'd like to ask the village to maintain the following standards. One, preserve the open land along Milwaukee Avenue and Museum Boulevard. Preserve the green area along Milwaukee Avenue and Museum Boulevard. Require a large setback between Milwaukee Avenue and the development. Require a large setback from the Museum Drive to any development. So I'm talking about now the front part of the development along Milwaukee Avenue, which is very picturesque with all the trees along Milwaukee Avenue, and the back end, Museum Drive. Keep the land between Milwaukee Avenue and the mansion open. Okay, currently, this would mean reducing the size of the development from the current 50 acres to something less. And in order to maintain the spot open between Milwaukee Avenue and the mansion, I'm suggesting that they eliminate that section of housing at the southeast section of the development. Now, Milwaukee Avenue already has a lot of commercial development south. You drive into the village from the south end and all commercial development. You go past the Cuneo Mansion, and what do we have? Car dealerships. So that nice stretch of land on Milwaukee Avenue with the green space is very nice, very relaxing. Let's maintain that area all along Milwaukee Avenue, make it green, keep all the trees, maintain that setback. The village recently passed ordinance number 2015-035, and this dealt with the architectural standards. It was a very good ordinance. I was happy to see it. Please confirm that the houses in this area will be required to be per these standards, and that there'll be no deviation, no exceptions to that ordinance. Thank you.
You're talking stone and brick.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yes, stone brick,
Yeah.
no stucco, no siding, et cetera. Higher pitch roofs. And the section of the land I'm talking about, Mayor, is that there's a group of houses, if you look at the map, at the southeast section of the development, that breaks the view between Milwaukee Avenue and the mansion. So again, okay, we can't preserve all the land, but let's reserve as much as possible. Initially, when we all moved in here, we knew about the 10-acre commercial development. This development now is 50 acres, which is more than half of the entire Cuneo Mansion property. So let's reduce it by taking out that section of houses. Nothing along Milwaukee Avenue, a nice setback, nice ornamental fencing along Milwaukee Avenue. The backside by Mission Drive, also keep that green, keep that open.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you're on the same wavelength. We discussed at length, I don't know, a month ago, so. Did you watch that?
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah,
yes.
well then, okay.
Yeah.
So you know we've
I
already.
just want to
so
iterate
We've
that.
already broached all this.
And I know how the builders come across and they all go, well, in order to make it work economically, we have to do this and this and this, cut down more trees and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it'll turn out nice, because we're still,
We're still talking
yeah,
about
we're
it.
still in the process, the rather lengthy process, so.
Thank you.
All right, Chet, thanks. Anybody else want to talk to this one? Sure.
Good evening. I'm Don Cathan, President of the Greg's Landing North Homeowners Association. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I just wanted to say that, first of all, we support the comments of Mr. Liss and look forward to any additional work with the village if you so desire our input from Greg's Landing North. Thank you.
Okay,
Haven't
thanks,
seen you for a
Don.
while.
He doesn't look like he's aged.
No, he's the same.
You still working downtown? Yes, sir. Okay.
The commute hasn't gotten to you yet.
All right.
25 years.
Do you got your light on, John? No.
I
Does
do.
Bob?
I do.
Bob,
Okay, I didn't see Bob's light. Does Bob have a light?
Well, Bob just put his light on.
Put your on.
Okay,
you don't
so,
have a light.
No, it says Bob Kenny, but it's not lit up.
Oh, well, that's what I meant.
These
His
are
light
dead.
isn't working.
Uh-oh, we already put his light out. Well, geez, man. You know,
You can't talk
good,
lights out.
I guess good news or bad news travels fast. We already shorted him out. Okay.
it's my legal opinion that you are still saying that you have all your wits about you, and you do have a good recollection of what happened way back in 1988 and before.
So say what the number was.
The annexation agreement authorized 3,200 units in 1988.
And then it was changed.
And in 1996, when Zale came in with their final plan development in ordinance 9630, that number got reduced to 2,100. Right. And I think what John is saying, that when it actually got platted out, some of those lots, in one case, there's three lots that was built as one. So that number got reduced, and that's why it's not 2,100 that's actually authorized to be built.
Right.
So,
Well, and remember, the other thing is Oakmont was originally a attached single-family home development. And that density got cut, I think, almost in half from what was originally shown on the concept plan. So there again is another erosion of the densities that
Okay.
were originally.
I mean, the 3,400, 3,600, that was the Libertyville deal. That would have been the Libertyville deal.
Right.
And,
then you whittled
okay.
it down, right.
Yeah, and everybody had to get their fingerprints on this one. Okay, fine. All right, we're going through that right now with these fingerprints on this one. Okay, so where are we going with this?
Staff is seeking direction from the committee to prepare the necessary resolution granting the authority to execute both agreements subject to review by the village attorney and approval by Lake County.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further comments or questions? I got one. You know, do we know when they're voting now? I shunned her to ask that, you know.
Lake County is scheduled to vote on the April 12th. And that dovetails into our schedule. Assuming this gets approved at our next board meeting, April 5th, the county will have their committee meetings, but they'll know what comes from this committee meeting. And I think John spoke with Barry Burton, and our schedule will dovetail into their schedule. And it's still, our schedule works with theirs to approve it on April 12th.
Okay. All right, motion is second. Roll call, please.
Trustees Schultz,
Aye.
Markwart,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Grieve,
Aye.
Williams. Aye. Hebda.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, that's about it. The budget.
I was just gonna say, for your concerns, just because we approve an amount at the maximum doesn't mean that's gonna end up being that in goal. You know, it's not etched in, so, you know, pretty much, but not totally.
I would not put that rosy a spin
I
on
didn't
it.
say we wouldn't.
No.
I just said we may not.
The 128, is that what, or is it 126?
120.
128 is what's gonna
Is
get
what they're-
approved.
well.
I mean, from this seat.
I was gonna say, but there's 7 of us up here.
Okay, I'm just, you know,
Okay.
and if that pushes the balls one way or the other, I'm happy I said that.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Next item is the continuation of 2016, 2017 budget presentations. And this, we start with Finance Director Larson.
Good evening.
And we might end with her, right?
You never know.
We will we will start and end with me this evening.
All right, well, that'll be nice.
Okay. To start us off, the first item on the agenda is the replacement fund, but we did realize in looking at the agenda for this evening that we inadvertently left off the community development budget, which is under tab G. So if the board does not mind, we would like to start with community development under tab G.
Yeah.
We don't want to leave them out.
And which tab? I'm sorry.
G.
G is.
G is
George.
in
Got it.
good, for a good budget, hopefully.
Yeah. I got it right here.
Thank you, Nikki. I'm pleased to submit for your review and approval the Community Development Department budget for fiscal year 16-17. The total proposed budget is $1,009,669, which is an increase of $16,001 or 1.61% from the previous year. This proposed budget includes the administration, GIS, and building divisions. And the administration budget, the proposed amount is $340,454, which is an increase of 2.06%. This is primarily related to wages and fringe benefits associated with the changeover from the previous year. And it also includes amounts for customer service training, as well as office chairs for department staff. You'll see that number for office furniture in several budgets. Essentially, the existing chairs our staff have are the ones that we have for the last 14 years, and that's from the initial building. And so that's why we're looking for the purchase of those items.
You may have this one.
The building division,
Oh, just
yeah,
kidding.
wait for it.
I'm
The
not kidding.
the building division includes $669,215, and this reflects a $9,119 increase, which is approximately 1.3% over last year. And that is related primarily to information technology associated with our transition from Govern to Munis, which operates our building permit and code enforcement software. That's including licensing costs for that software, as well as the purchase of field tablets, which will be utilized by our inspection staff moving away from the paper forms that they currently operate and moving to an electronic format, which will help create some efficiencies within our department.
How did the part-time inspector go this year?
So as part of the delay and defer budget that was discussed at length as part of the state budget, we opted not to fill that position last year. We did keep funds available for this coming proposed budget to fill that position.
Do you think we'll need him this year?
It's certainly something we'd like to look into proposing. However, in consideration of the fact that we haven't adopted, the state has adopted this year's budget, and we're not certain where.
That's kind of your bogey right now, but you're looking to use him. There should be a sufficient amount of work to bring him on.
Yeah, I mean, for a little more detail, the position is still budgeted, at least that's what staff is requesting, but the idea is depending on how these developments land for us, that would be Regency, Pulte, Swanson, and the commercial development, and Menards development, we have 2 full-time inspectors and a part-time inspector right now, and is that enough to be able to sustain all the inspections? At this time, we can. Once these developments start hitting, there's going to be a time when we need to fill that position, part-time position. Right. And then also the part-time electric inspection position, which we have filled right now, we're only utilizing about half the hours that the board authorized because that's all we need. We would more fully utilize that position. So that's our backup plan. So we need it in the budget, so we're prepared that no matter how these developments begin to start construction, we're prepared to be able to provide those services.
Okay.
Thank you. Motion to approve at $1,009,669.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further comments or questions? If not, roll call.
Trustees Marport,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Grieve,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Hebda,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Next item is replacement fund.
That is correct. So I will take that one. The replacement fund is under tab L. L is in lamb.
I'm not on it.
13.
113, correct.
Okay. Oh, it's also page 113. Thank you. Okay, the total replacement fund expenditure budget this year is $1,016,000, which represents a decrease of about $11,000 from last year's budget, or I'm sorry, 11%. Ooh, that's off. This includes equipment purchases for replacements for one of our 3,500 truck at $160,000. 1 3/4 ton pickup truck for $40,000 and the minivan for $25,000. This is budgeted to result in an increase in this fund by adding to reserves for about $160,000 for this fiscal year.
What are the resources again, the source of the resources?
The source of the resources are charges for to each of the departments that use the vehicles. So you'll see that throughout the budget, included in each of the divisions that have vehicles, fleet vehicles. So essentially, those monies are coming from the general fund. And this is something that we do plan on revisiting this year. We do have a significant fund balance in this fund, so this is something that we could potentially pull back on. While still maintaining our reserves for future purchases. We want to still have that rainy day fund for those trucks that may not last as long as we hope they will. But this is something that we could potentially decrease going forward.
Now, Nikki, nobody answered for. What does GVW mean?
Gross vehicle weight.
That's correct. Okay.
Proud of you.
I just asked, you know. Okay,
Motion to approve at $1,016,000 in for expenditures.
Second.
yeah.
A grateful swag.
All right, there's a motion and a second.
Yes.
Roll call.
Trustees Marport,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Grebe,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Hebda,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Motion carries. Resident Benefit Fund.
Okay. Moving on. There have been a couple changes to the resident benefit fund. Included under tab M is a total budget of $191,200. This fund includes, as you may recall, the social service grant program and a portion of the VHAC maintenance. Included in the packet for this evening are requests for social service grants that amount to $32,500. So that does increase this budget slightly. So the new total comes to $192,700. This still results in a decrease in the overall fund, just about 5% or so. And this is a combination of decreases in the VHAC maintenance budget. And Dave can give more detail if you have more questions on that, but some part of that is related to coming towards the end of our Emerald Ash Borer program. And that decrease in the VHAC budget is offset by that slight increase in the social service grants.
Motion to approve?
Second.
What amount? 192,
192,700.
192,700.
Yes.
Do we need to approve the social service grant sheet first? So we are then,
Yeah.
basically, we're approving it
Right, yes.
as given to us here.
Lynn, we do a separate resolution for this also.
I was gonna say,
So-
don't we
We
do
can-
something
we can-
separate on this?
Well, we
Yeah.
can bounce the figures.
All right. But we are now, in fact, budgeting
32.
32.5. That is the number that we get to work with when we get to this particular resolution.
But I do have a question on it. What is, this one's a new applicant, if you will.
Fresh
Senior issues,
I-
et cetera?
Have my light on for that. It is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
okay.
Just so you are aware, it is a group of volunteers, they're non-for-profit, and they provide programming through cable channel 4 to seniors on issues that may directly impact them, whether it be health or medical or how to outsource. So they're looking for just $1,000 to continue their program, and they do it all volunteer. They do their own, like they don't ask Mike to do any kind of thing, but we run the programs on Channel 4, and then it basically impacts the entire community of Vernon Hills and others. So I think it's a real plus for us to have this new applicant for us.
Nice, nice.
Yep.
And I know I think I do ask this question every year, because we give money to the Girl Scouts, but I never see anything on here
I
for the
know.
Boy Scouts.
Yeah, the Boy Scouts have never really come through and asked us for
They're-
any.
They've been at Oktoberfest in the past.
Yeah, they've helped out
So-
with
Oh,
that.
right, I've seen
I
them
think
there.
they sell some glow products at the 4th of July music part, so they have some opportunities themselves. but-
That's how they're getting theirs, that's fine. And I know we dropped Omni House at one time. Do we want to reconsider that?
That's because they're going through the police.
No, you go through the
They go
police.
through the
They're in the police budget,
They do the
sorry,
police.
that's
Yeah.
where they moved to. Right, right, right.
It's
I forgot about that.
That's
$14,000.
$14,000.
Right,
Yeah, we-
I forgot about that, thank you. Okay.
Okay, we had a motion and a second.
Yes.
Roll call.
Trustees Grebe,
Aye.
Hebda,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Marport,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Motion carries. Events.
Thank you, Your Honor. The fiscal year 16-17 community event budget is proposed at $101,740, which is a decrease of $27,066, or approximately 21%. Again, this year, included in the budget is the Arbor Theater Concert Series, the Fishing Derby, the July 4th Parade and fireworks, the Summer Celebration fireworks, the pageant, and Oktoberfest. This is essentially a status quo budget. The Holiday Lights Show as was discontinued last year and altered for holiday lights throughout the community, and funds for that have been reallocated into the Public Works budget.
Yeah, and, what am I looking at? It? What's fireworks for the 4th? 27,000?
Yes.
Correct.
Where,
No.
where is it?
No, I mean, I don't see it. I don't see it.
I don't see it.
Contractual services under 4th of July, page 124.
Yeah,
Isn't it right there?
well, look what it says.
Your Honor, you are correct. The 4th of July fireworks are 27,000.
Okay, and that's the light show budget? That's the only 27,000 I see.
That's 35,000.
On page P126,
Okay, all right. Okay. Yeah, it's in the,
And then this, I think we,
yeah, it's in the 4th of July budget, but of that, it's 27,000.
correct.
So it's 17,000 for what, the band, everything else. Yeah, okay. So 27-minute show, right? Did you stand out there, Joe, and time it?
I did. I believe it was approximately 21 minutes.
So they owe us, what, $6,000? You know,
What, how much are we spending on?
27,000, it's $1,000 a minute.
Well, but
Except that we're paying more apparently.
remember, you do pay a premium on the 4th of July versus
I
the
know.
week later at Somerset.
Yeah, I know.
what was
yeah.
the breakdown for summer
They used-
celebration for their fireworks? Was that
It's
13? It was
13.7.
13, okay, that's,
13.7.
let's see, that's why.
But don't they kind of throw in a lot of stuff
Yeah,
that was
there's-
left over? They used to.
Yeah, that's six.
Yeah, their overtime or their
Gotta give them a
6.
20 grand show because
Yeah,
of the
right.
6 that they hose us at.
Right.
Okay,
But do
all
we
right,
wanna
so,
raise the 4th of July?
yeah, it's in there.
Okay.
It's a
We're gonna leave
27.
it there at 75.
Okay, so there's a motion to approve the $101,740 budget.
No, but I'll make a motion.
Motion is second. Any further comments or questions? If not, roll call.
Trustees Grieb,
Aye.
Hebda,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Markwart,
Aye.
Schultz, Williams.
Aye.
Motion carries. Who we using now? Is it still Mad Bomber or is it,
It's Melrose Pyrotechnics.
okay, that's the White Sox guys.
Yes.
That's right.
Split one.
Yeah, some of those guys they don't have all 5 fingers on both hands.
That's because it's been holding those
But
fireworks.
here they all went up at once.
Summer celebration fund.
Thank you, Your Honor. Summer celebration budget this year is shown as $171,060, which represents an increase of $3,210, or approximately 1.9% over the current budget year. Revenue obviously is estimated to be stable again this year, and as we all know, our revenue is based on weather.
Okay.
So, the increase in expenditures including in the budget for the first time, the Explorer Post, where we provide to them a $1,500 donation towards their program, and also additional service clubs to the amount of $2,500. Additional entertainment costs, including an increase in the stage lighting and related sound system and the like. You guys have previously approved the music budget of approximately $41,000 this year, and that backline and production went up about $2,500 this year for the first time. So again, the total expenditure of this budget is projected to be $171,060, which again represents a 1.9% increase over the current budget year. And I can answer any questions.
Sound like you said, I'm not gonna answer any questions.
is Smash Mouth.
Correct.
Yeah.
Who's the
Just trying to find it.
starter band that night?
it's on there and I saw it, I can't remember.
Boxcar.
Yes,
Boxcar.
that's right.
They're out of Milwaukee.
But it does,
Yes.
All right, so is there a motion?
No.
So made.
Second.
171,060?
Yep.
Okay, motion is second. Roll call.
Trustees Markwart,
aye,
Cook,
Aye.
Grebe,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Hebda,
Aye.
Schultz.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
General purpose.
I screwed it up.
Okay, the general purpose budget is on pages 135 and 136 in tab P. This budget is $1,373,303 for the 2016-17 year. This is an increase of $769,000. The main reason for this increase is that the debt service budget has increased by $434,000 this year. This is due to the first scheduled payments on bonds that were issued in 2015. You may recall, these bonds were issued in 2015 for, I'm blanking for a moment, for the contribution to the land for OPA and the Starcom radio system. So these are the first scheduled payments in 2015, which is the reason for the increase. Also included in the general purpose budget is a contingency of $395,000. This is placed there for unanticipated expenses that may arise throughout the year. Transfers to other funds for $126,000. That represents our statutorily required contribution to the TIF fund. That's our
Excuse me.
existing. Yes, sir.
No, I mean, you yawned.
Oh,
We just
okay.
yawned.
That's our existing.
Yeah, I went to a
fund,
Catholic grammar school. I say, excuse me. Pardon
Town
me.
Center TIF, required contributions. Also included in there is $52,000 for fringe benefits. This covers the healthcare costs of employees on pensions, per legal stipulations, or per ordinance.
Where's that one at?
That is on page 135. It's listed in the summary and fringe benefits, but it's also included in the detail on page 136.
52,493?
You've got it.
Ooh, do I know these people?
Sure, you make it, didn't you?
Is it just three people?
You are familiar with
It's only
them.
three people.
There are four.
Okay, but three I know well, right?
You know very well.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
That's nice.
So in total, this budget is proposed to be $1,373,303.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
1,373,303.
Motion
And second.
and the second agree with the number?
Yep.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Trustees Grebe,
Aye.
Hebda,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Markwart,
aye,
Schultz, Williams.
Aye.
Motion carries. Q, administrative budget.
Thank you, Your Honor. The proposed administration budget for fiscal year 17 is $2,417,749, which is an increase of $217,854 over last year's budget. The administration budget consists of general administration, manager's office, finance department, and cable studio. In regards to a breakdown of each individual item, the administration budget is proposed at $164,250, which is a 1.69% increase, or approximately $2,700. This is primarily due to a $2,500 increase to our annual contribution to the Lake County Convention and Visitors Bureau. It's important to note that we have not seen an increase from the Bureau in the last 10 years. I just spoke to them today just to confirm that. So it has been a decade since we have seen an increase, which is why you see the number which is before you this evening. Otherwise, the increase is also reflected to postal charges, which is reflecting the adopted budget from last year, but due to budget transfers and amendments, the revised budget actually decreased it. So this is just bringing it back up to what was previously approved in the prior fiscal year. In the manager's budget, the proposed budget is $495,118. That's an increase of $43,330, or 9.59% over the previous year. This is primarily due to an increase in training and conferences. This is to provide, $10,000 is included in there to provide for executive staff level training with Morrison Associates. And it also includes an increase of $20,000 for the hiring of a strategic planning consultant to assist with the creation of an updated comprehensive and strategic plan. As you recall, we were doing the National Citizen Survey, and we're going to utilize the results of that to help craft an update to our comprehensive land use plan, or I'm sorry, strategic plan, excuse me, which has not
So
been.
who, are we going out the, with an RFP or something?
At some point, yes.
Okay.
So that's where the increase of 28,625 comes from, those two items?
Correct, those two items, and then there is a reduction in equipment of $250,
Okay.
which nets out to the $28,375.
Yeah. But the fringe benefits is what, the group health?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
As it relates to finance, I'll pass it over to Nikki.
Thank you. Also included in the fringe benefits are anything we pay out in FICA or Medicare as well. So if you have employees that are within the STEP plan moving through that program, any increases there would also be reflected in the fringe benefits columns. The overall finance department budget is proposed to be $1,596,080. It is important to note that the finance department also includes any expenditures that would be related to human resources functions, information technology, and the village's casualty and liability insurance program. So all of the premiums would be included here. This budget represents an 11% increase over the prior year, which amounts to about $164,000. The majority of this increase, approximately $129,000 of that, is related to the change from a flat contribution insurance program to a minimum maximum contribution program. You may recall back in November we did have this conversation about the change in the structure of the program. So this budget does reflect that change. Overall, in the finance department budget, you will see a decrease in personnel that's related to recent retirements and the restructuring of the program. That is slightly offset by an increase in the overtime account. We are anticipating a small need for overtime this coming year as we transition with new employees. And we're trying to balance that workload by an investment in technology. So also included in the budget is a $15,000 line item for an analysis of our existing financial software system. The system that we have is very capable, and it has a lot of technology that we're not using. So what we would like to do is partner with our software vendor and have them come in and evaluate the processes that we are doing now and have them kind of work with us to see how we can do it better and create additional efficiencies going forward. That'll save us time in payroll. That'll also save us materials costs in the long run as we start to eliminate a lot of our paper documentation and use an electronic storage solution as well. So you do see that increase as well. In terms of other highlights, we are increasing the bandwidth for our internet usage in information technology services. We are also duplicating our servers back and forth between the police department and Village Hall, so there is an increase in our backup licenses for that purpose.
Can I, with the, the demise and, the untimely death of Officer Rankin, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't we reimbursing vacation time back?
Actually, yes.
Is that, was that in the chief's budget?
That would have been in the chief's budget if,
But we did.
well, actually, let me go back. We did have a sick donation program, but we did not reach the point where any donations were needed.
Oh, okay.
So Officer Rankin still had time left in his bank at that time.
Okay. All right,
Lost your glasses.
yeah, there's somewhere on the floor.
In terms of other major differences, there is an increase in our audit and management consulting fee. This is as a result of our most recent RFP that was issued, let's see, at the end of December. The board just approved a new agreement with a new firm, which was one of the lower bidders, but unfortunately, the cost of auditing services is going up, so that's also reflected in this budget. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions on the finance piece.
Motion to approve?
I'm sorry, the cable studio is also included in the administration budget. I don't want to forget Stordo up there. The proposed budget in the cable studio is $162,301. That is an increase of $7,669, or 4.96%. This is primarily due to an increase of $5,500 for the purchase of new village boardroom cameras and related equipment. So for the administration budget, all total, it is $2,417,749, which is before you this evening.
I've just got an off-the-wall question.
Budget for $2 million. Wait a minute, $417,749. $2,417,749.
Correct.
Second.
Thank you, now you
And
do.
you had a comment.
Yeah, a question. That $1,000 from the music library, music CDs, that preempts our need to pay a royalty to AFSCME or whatever? No, we do have to pay that, and that's in here somewhere,
I think
too?
it's more than that, though.
And how much is it? I've just,
It's more than that, though.
Well, if we're playing music,
yes,
we've got to pay the
Ask me.
piper
Piper.
on that.
Whoever.
I don't know what the
ASCAP
dollar
would be
amount
a
is.
ASCAP, excuse me.
There's three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much is it total?
Oh, I
A
don't.
bunch.
Just
It's
ballpark.
gotta be.
Yeah, I think
it
it's,
was
it-
1,200 like
it's
that, but-
reasonable if you can get past the unreasonableness that you have to pay it in the first
Yeah.
place.
Lynn, what was the number?
Yeah, they're each like $350, but we've got to pay three. BMI, ASCAP, and then
It-
ASCAP.
Okay, so about $1,000. Is that where that music library, music CDs is then?
Music license.
It's a license to play music wherever and however you play it.
Is it like $1,000 each band, or
Business, I played the
overall?
music over and I had some.
I mean, to play it up here and then the other,
On the TV, on
the
Channel
TV on
4.
Channel 4.
Or then to replay it?
That elevator music that
Theater
accompanies the,
Covers
okay,
it all.
okay.
I just have friends in the bar business that they get stuck with that, and I was wondering if we got stuck.
The automobile business, they played it over the,
Oh, God,
had to pay
okay.
that.
Okay.
I'll have to tune in and, you know,
Just turn it on.
just some
listen to it.
calming music, huh? All right, so the motion to,
Approve.
is there a second?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, roll call, please.
Trustees Grieb,
Aye.
Hebda,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Markwart,
aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Williams.
Motion carries. All right, next is committee budget summary.
Correct.
Committees.
The proposed fiscal year 17 committees and commissions budget is $30,875. This reflects zero change when compared to last year's budget.
And the seniors get the preponderance.
Are there any major initiatives that they're pursuing within that budget number this year?
They have not indicated so, no.
Okay.
Who's doing the blood drive these days? Who actually is over there?
I'm assuming it's the Park District, because they hold it at the Lashin Center.
I think so, yeah.
Motion to approve, $30,875 under committee budget.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second, roll call, please.
Trustees Grieb,
Aye.
Hebda,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Markwart.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Motion carries. Judiciary budget.
The proposed judiciary budget is $507,500, which again reflects zero change from the previous year's budget. It's important to note that in regards to this current proposed budget, this does include money available for police and telecommunicator collective bargaining. The agreement expired April 30th of this year, or does expire April 30th of this year.
And this covers our anticipated costs for various lawsuits that we're engaged in, labor lawsuits.
Correct.
Well, the first one's Marola, right? Morel? 48,000.
Correct.
Yeah, I know, government affairs, I always liked that one. Okay, and then labor and specialties, 254, village attorney, 130. And then Harold Weiner is 75.
Correct. And the labor and special affairs is actually two firms,
Who is that?
Hunt and Associates and Storino, Romello, and Durkin.
Oh, okay.
I will be going in, I already talked to them.
Okay.
John, do you swear in blood that we will not exceed 254.5?
Absolutely not. We're hopeful to
Sure.
conclude a couple of them, and we'll see on the third one.
Okay. Motion to approve 507-500.
Second.
Motion is second, roll call, please.
Trustees Grieb,
Aye.
Hebda,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Markwart,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Williams.
Motion
We have the
carries.
air conditioner on.
Motion carries.
Feels good.
It's nice.
It's getting warm in here.
Well,
Okay.
Let's trade seats for a while and you won't get warm.
What, are you getting hit here?
Yes.
Already, just a new seat?
No, it's, I can
It's
feel
coming
it.
right
I can
here.
feel it.
Okay, well,
I'm feeling it
block
too,
it.
but I'm liking it.
yeah, I was gonna, yeah. Yeah, okay, well, yeah, to each his own. President and village board, budget. Where's that? T. Let's
Your Honor.
see, blah, blah, blah.
The proposed budget for Board and Trustees budget is $84,926, which is a $6,039 increase, or approximately 7.6%. The reason for this increase is primarily related to $6,000 being budgeted for the purchase of new chairs within the village boardroom, which are currently sitting in.
Right here?
Right,
Before I leave.
Oh, these chairs?
Why?
These are nice
Are
chairs.
these that bad? Uh-oh.
Obviously, there's been
Well, we've
some-
had maintenance issues with them, right?
Oh.
Because we've,
Yeah.
You're right. We've had maintenance issues where we've actually had them fall off the cylinders.
Right.
We have not been able to repair them. Some of them do not go up and down, and we've also received comments from some of the board members about them being extremely uncomfortable and would like to have them replaced. So that's,
Get a cushion.
Yeah.
well, I understand that, I mean,
Repair it.
we've lost one on the dining.
Well, how
In fact,
old are
Bob,
these
if you
now?
want this one, we can.
these are original,
These are 15
almost
years
15
old?
years old.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
In this building.
Well, what are we gonna do with them, auction them off?
You can have
Are we gonna give them to Goodwill?
No, the,
No, we gotta auction them.
you have to,
Salvation Army.
Yeah.
Got all-
All right, well,
Oh, I was gonna tell them about that afterwards.
all right. Is there a motion to approve 84,926?
So made.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Trustees Markwart,
aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Grieb,
Aye.
Williams.
You gotta, Barb, you have to vote.
That's what I.
Hebda,
Aye, aye, aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Is that it?
So that's what he hit us for.
Schultz.
Aye.
No, it wouldn't move.
Okay, motion carries.
Be judicious in the expenditure for new chair.
You, Vernon Hills Town Center Tax Increment Fund.
Okay, included on page 169 to 172 is the tax increment fund budget for the Vernon Hills Town Center. The proposed budget is for $1,199,400, which is an increase of 11.97% over the current budget level. This is projected to run a surplus of $186,000 this current year. I do want to caution everyone at home and those listening, we will need this surplus in future years to pay debt service. So that will be saved for that purpose. Revenues for the current year, or the budget year, are projected to be $1,386,000, which is a little less than 1% more than what was projected for the current year. Included in those revenues is the $126,000 general fund contribution as required by TIF statute. Also included in this budget are a number of principal and interest payments. This budget reflects the first year of payments for the Series 2015B bonds, which refunded the last remaining portion of the 2007 alternate revenue bonds, which you may recall were refunded late last year. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
The 1,000,002 increment, resource increment, is that kind of a Kentucky windage based on last year? Does it include any additional rate adjustments that any of the schools and fire protection districts may have made?
This does not include that. And it also does not assume any additional increment from the construction that is going on down there right now.
Because that's always 2 years
And that
in
will be
arrears.
delayed.
All right. So we may exceed that number?
Correct.
Okay,
That is
good.
possible.
The bigger the surplus, the better. Motion to approve the expenditure of $1,199,400.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further comments or questions? Roll call.
Trustees Grieb,
Aye.
Hebda,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Markwart,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Williams. Aye.
Motion carries. All right, is there a motion to adjourn committee to whole and go into closed session for, what, personnel?
No.
Mayor,
Proposed
may-
litigation.
No, it's just litigation.
Oh, just litigation and personnel?
No, just
Oh, just litigation.
May I make two more comments on the budget really quickly? I just want to remind everyone at home in terms of the budget schedule. The next scheduled meeting, we will be having the public hearing on April 5th with a scheduled final approval of the budget on April 19th. And if for anyone that's interested in viewing the budget, it is online, available for viewing, and there is a paper copy available in the clerk's office as well.
Two thumb pencils.
I hope so.
So when it comes to music, we have to pay CSAC as well as the two American companies.
Nikki, I'm sorry, did you say the public hearing will be at the next meeting on the 6th?
No, April.
Correct, on April 5th.
Okay, and then approval will be the same night?
Approval will be the following night on April 19th.
Following meeting.
Following
2
meeting.
weeks later.
Yep, thank you.
Well, we can do them both the same night if you want to.
It's okay with me. I should have said that tonight on the
We'll have
Pulte
the, we'll
thing.
have the one at like Portage or something.
The one night I don't ask.
Yeah, they don't.
I mean, they would have probably benefited
We'll
from
check on that, but I
getting it
think,
to
I
the
think we
county
might
that
have to
much
have it on the
quicker.
following
That's
meeting.
true.
Just like, I feel like, what's his name, Kramer, you know, I'm gonna start. All right, okay, there's a motion and a second to adjourn.
No.
Well, is there a motion and a
So
second?
made.
Do that.
Okay, all right. Roll call, please.
Trustees Schultz,
Aye.
Markwart,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Grieb,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Hebda.
Aye.
Okay, thank you and good night. The meeting's adjourned.
Yeah, I had no idea we had to pay